people vote. I want you to vote. I want you to vote for me. That's the message, and that's how I'm going to win this election.
Thank you, Bob. Scott?
Thanks, Rose. You know, this is practical politics, and it's great to shoot out one-liners, but the bottom line is we do have an election to win. It is that critical. I hope you join with me in believing that this isn't just another important election. We are at a crossroads, and we have to fully understand everybody in this room is engaged, but there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across this state that are not as fully engaged, that can be turned by a bad ad. I've felt that pain before of not being able to respond to a negative ad that was false, not being able to hit back simply because you didn't have those resources. So that's something we are pushing in our campaign. We've been very successful through the generosity of Coloradoans throughout the 3rd Congressional District. One of the most touching donations I received was in Cortez, Colorado, from an 87-year-old woman who put $1 in an envelope and handed it to me. I replaced it, but I kept that dollar and carry it with me because that shows somebody that really cares. They understand what we are truly facing. So we're working hard. I'm making tons of calls. I'll do my job. I'd ask for you to contribute to our campaign tonight because we can't do it without you. We have to be able to buy those TV ads. We have to be able to put those signs up to be able to do this. One of the great advantages I do have in this race, the polling that we had that I mentioned earlier that says that right now Salazar and I are in a statistical dead heat also shows that my name ID is sitting at 60% right now. Extraordinary for a challenger, a great launch point to be able to reach out to the people who are not as engaged as you are. People do vote. We'll need your vote, and we need to reach out to others, and this is all part of the process.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, so I'll remind you, you guys will have 1 minute each to answer these audience questions so that we can get through them all. All right, Scott, we're going to start with you. The vehicle use tax is not a fee, it is a tax that we did not approve. Why do you think it is a good idea?
I don't. I voted against it. That was called FASTER, Senate Bill 108. And let's set the record straight. Bob sent out an erroneous email from CUT. There was a 25-cent increase that I voted for. And Bob, I wrote down, you're an EMT. You should have known about this. EMTs are buying their own equipment. That's their only source. So Steve King, Josh Penry, myself, Laura Bradford, we voted at the requests of EMTs who pick us off the side of the road at 2 o'clock in the morning as volunteers to give them 50 cents more so that they don't have to buy their own equipment. And if I'm going to be chastised for that, chastise away, partner, because I will stand up for our EMTs and our volunteers who put so much on the line. But when it came to Senate Bill 108, which is the $71, I had to pay $71 on my truck that's sitting out here in the lot right now, and it's going to be going up over the course of the next 2 years. I voted against it. Look at the record.
Thank you, Scott. Bob?
Well, I believe in Tabor, and I don't think we hide this by calling it fees or taxes. No new taxes, no new increases, not now, not ever. And as I travel around, I ask people to think about the fact that as an individual, as a family, as a business, as a country, we all need to tighten our belts. No new tax increases, not now, not ever, period. End of story.
Thank you. Okay. Scott, I think, did you start? I'm sorry.
I'll go either way.
Matter. Do you support campaign finance legislation such as limits on campaign spending and corporate donations to candidates?
Want me to go ahead? I'll go first. No. I think that's free speech. You ought to have the right. What we've seen is this is a great tactic. The unions have been able, I don't know how many union members we have in here. I don't belong to one. But they can forcibly take it out of your wages. And then they direct those dollars. And they've been playing in the political campaigns for a long time. The Supreme Court in their recent ruling has stated that corporations now are going to be able to contribute money. I don't like seeing that. You know, there's a lot of it that, yet McCain-Feingold was ultimately a true failure in terms of what it was inhibiting. But this is a matter of free speech, because if the government has been regulating it, are they going to regulate your ability to be able to carry a message and to be able to deliver that? I don't think so. I think that that First Amendment happens to be very important, and government needs to get out of the way.
Thank you. Bob?
Free speech is free speech. The Supreme Court ruled in Citizens Union that speech involves campaign contributions. Now, this has been spun that it's going to allow big corporations to flood campaigns. All this does is make the playing field equal and level. We need to take full advantage of this. This empowers conservatives to step back against unions that spend 90% of their money on Democratic candidates. We need to get out there and encourage businesses to identify issues and candidates. First thing it did, it took the limits off the contributions. Second thing it did is said that corporations can now identify specific candidates and specific issues. So no more of this no identification of candidates. The third thing it did is take away the 60-day, 30-day rule. So we'll be able to corporations will be able to identify issues and candidates and support them fully right up to the election.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, Bob, what is your position on drilling in the western part of Colorado?
Drill, baby, drill. Drill responsibly. Let's take those jobs back and let's get people to work. We are the endangered species. We are the endangered species. The rancher, the farmer, the driller, and the miner. Put us back to work. We can do it responsibly. We can maintain the beauty of Colorado and use those resources. Protect ourselves. Protect our national security. Drill, baby, drill.
Thank you.
Well, I have a track record and a voting record to stand behind those very words. We need to reinvigorate the economy on the West Slope. I think we've all felt too painfully just what an important role the energy industry has played in our economy, and they're doing it responsibly. So what we need to be doing is sending a message to Secretary Salazar, who is trying to roll back access in terms of some of the drilling. We've got great technology out there, lateral drilling. I remember when I toured the Williams rig, and they said, we've got a lot of acreage over on BLM land, and we're drilling there. And I said, well, when do you start? They said, we already are. And you looked up and saw pristine land. We need to enforce the regulations that are there, but we need to get Americans back to work. The West Slope of Colorado can help lead the way to American energy independence. Let's drill, and drill now.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, Scott, what is your plan if you lose and you're not the nominee?
Hadn't thought of that one. You know, I lead a real life. You know, for 30 years, I started my own business right out of college that I still own and operate. Jean and I have raised our 2 daughters, and we go to church. We try and participate in our local community. So this has not been my life. That is my life. I, like you, have been active in politics because that's what the Founding Fathers expected of us. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a representative government. We live in a representative government, and the only way it works is if we actually participate. That doesn't mean you're running. That means you're participating in the process. So we've done that, and if this doesn't work out, this is in God's hands and your hands. It's not in mine. I've got a life, and one I love, but I want to try and serve you as well, and that's why I am running for the 3rd CD.
Thank you, Scott. Bob?
If I'm not the nominee, you know, when I first met Scott, I shook his hand, I said, may the best man win. And that's me. But if it's not, Scott, you will have my 100% support. No third party, no petition. Third party would be a disaster for us right now. Conservative values need to pull together. Pull together, send John Salazar back to the potato farm. You know, I went down and met with Dick Wadhams on September 16th before I announced. I told Dick exactly the same thing. He encouraged me to get in the race. I said, that's fine. And he said, now, I need to talk to you about petition. I said, don't worry talking about it. No need. I am either going to be the choice of the people, by the people, for the people, or I will support Scott. No questions.